Alright, so this will likely be my final book unhaul for some time. So, and this is a huge one, as you can see. So I'm not going to give you any introduction, I'm just going to get right into it. I did unhaul a few other books previously, like Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale and a collection of short stories, but I didn't show those because it was only like 7 books, and 7 books does not a video make. So I have about, I don't know, 100 books here. So I'm going to go ahead and show these to you, show you why I'm going to be unhauling them, and I will give these away to most likely the bargain book world because their store credit system is rather unusual. You can only get 20 cents per book. So if you have a pile of, say, I don't know, 5 books, that's $1. So I tried to get as many as I could over here, and hopefully I'll be able to get as much store credit as humanly possible with all these books. So I suppose I shall start off here with the first one. First here is The Beatles, a pocket reference guide to more than 100 songs from paperback songs. This isn't really worth anything online. I tried putting it up on eBay. No one bought it. So this will be going to the bookshop. I think you can see that in front of me. Yeah, you can. So alright, so I guess I'll get these, all these books up here. This here is a collection of Balzac. This is like, I suppose, a comprehensive edition of his works and everything. It was like 28 volumes or something. I only have about, 7 of them. My art history teacher was giving these away, and I got a few, but he didn't give all of them away. Or no, it's not that he didn't, it's just that I couldn't get them in time and such, so I was only stuck with these volumes. And it's very unlikely that I will be able to get the rest. So, and they take up tons of space in the library, so these are all going to the bookshop. Alright, we have another Balzac here. This time it's Pierre Goriot and Eugenie Grandet. Apologies, my French is not what it used to be. Simple reason, I'd been wanting to read Pierre Goriot, but I've not read it yet. But if you see Eugene Grandet, or Eugenie Grandet, how you say it, is all marked up. It just nettles me, as I said. So, that's going. Okay, next here, well, I guess I'll show this here. This here is The Pearl by John Steinbeck. I had to read this for class many, many years ago, when I was like 13 or something. Main reason why I'm getting rid of this book is I didn't like it all that much. Not my favorite Steinbeck, but also, as you'll see from my series Why I Left the Valley Community, you will know there's a scene in here that prevents me from keeping this book. And were I to continue to hold on to this book, the urge to fall back into degeneracy will grow ever more strong. So I can't keep this book anymore. So that's it. Alright, next here we have Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. Another Flaubert book. Have not read Madame Bovary. Probably never will for a long time, just because, November was just utterly atrocious. And this is marked in places. Like that there. And so, that's going. Next, we have one of my many copies of Animal Farm by George Orwell. There's one copy in particular that I do want out of all these copies, and I have it on my shelves, and you'll likely see it. But I really don't need this many copies anymore, and, oh, that's interesting. Little bookmark there. God, I never spoke. Oh, that's a little prayer. Interesting. I'll have to look at that later. But anyway, I don't need this many copies of Animal Farm, and this could easily be store credits, so that's going. Next we have Who's Afraid of a Virginia Woolf? Virginia Woolf, Virginia Woolf by Edward Albee. Or Albee. Simple reason this is going is because it's marked in places. Let's see if we can get this. That's a bookmark in there. Yeah, just a little stray piece of paper. That's in there as a bookmark. And another one. So that's going. Next here we have The Marriage of Heaven and Hell by William Blake. I'm not sure what this is really. I think this is like a... What is this? I'm not exactly what this is. Illuminated manuscript, something like that. But either way. Oh, it is printed by Oxford. So maybe I'll keep this. Never mind. Next here, this is a penguin, but it is going because, well, I never read it, and most likely never will. This is Cactus, Tracks, and Cowboy Philosophy by Baxter Black. I've no idea what this is about, but will most likely never read it. I might even give it to someone I know. My uncle and aunt. I don't know. We'll see. But as of now, it's going to the bookshop. So there we go. Alright. Last book on this pile is another complete short stories of Saki. I have plenty of Saki. Obviously, I have the complete Saki there with all of his plays, novels, and stories. You'll see it in the tour. It's a hardback edition. This was my first copy of Saki, but it's really not the best copy because it's one of those print-on-demand things, and I don't know, it's not that great. So, this is going to the bookshop. Right, so, next pile here, we have a couple C.S. Lewis books. We have The Four Loves and Fernseed and Elephants. The main reason why these are going is because, well, highlighted. Highlighted. That's why. Alright, I believe Cliff Notes do count as books. I am not entirely sure, but I believe they count as books. I will see once I get to the bookshops and such. I may even yet go to other bookshops and see. I may even inquire to other bookshops to see what their policy on store credit is, to see if I can get more money out of it. But anyhow, Cliff Notes on Animal Farm. Kind of self-explanatory, and it even is underlined just a bit and annotated it anyway. So yeah, we have The Best Poems Ever, a collection of poetry's greatest voices, published by Scholastic Classics. This basically has a whole bunch of poems by very famous. Oh, it's got The Raven in there, some Pablo Neruda. Shakespeare's got sonnets, Gertrude Stein, Percy Shelley, a couple other people, but I have a better collection of poems. Actually has 100. This has like only, I don't know, 30 or so. So that's going to the bookshop. Next we have a copy of Dante's Paradiso. Obviously, I just dropped the thing, but obviously I have the complete Divine Comedy, so I do not need this. Next we have Aristotle's Poetics. This is a fairly thin book, but as you can see, it's extensively, well, not extensively, but it is annotated in parts. Very ugly. Next, God, I need to have a better grip on these books, is the Bahagawagita, one of the ancient Hindu texts. This is annotated profusely and just gives all kinds of spoilers. Look at that. That is just unbearable. I don't understand it. I really don't. So that's going. Next one here. Oh, I could make just 1,000 jokes about this about this book's name, and I'm sure everyone in the comments will make so many jests about this name. But Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. This is a book that I read a very long time ago in primary school. I did not like it at all. And for some reason I have it now. But I will no longer have it, so it's going. Next we have a Dover Thrift edition of The Land of Little Rain by Mary Austin. I have no idea what this is. I will likely never read it, so it's going to the bookshop. Next here we have Plunket of Tammany Hall, a series of very plain talks on very practical politics by William L. Riordan. How do you say his name? This is a whole bunch of like speeches by this one politician, and I've not read it. I've had this in my library forever, but will likely never read it. So, there. We have here Bless the Beasts and Children by, what's his name? Glendon Swarthout. That's a name, isn't it? I have no idea what this book is about. It is a turtle-bound edition. But from what I gather, it's like a more young adult book. And I'm not into young adult at all. As you probably see from most of the books I've hauled, I'm into more sort of like good literature, classic literature, all that type of thing. So, this is going. And I've not read it either. So. Next we have a copy of The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury. Not my favorite thing he's written. Personally, I think Martian Chronicles is much better. But this is annotated all the hell, as you can see there. So, that's going. Next here we have Sir Gawain and the Green Knight by Anonymous. As you will see here pretty soon, you'll see that it's highlighted very horribly. That's not even that's marker. That is marker that they used. It's not even a highlighter pen. Jesus. Merry Christmas. Anyhow. God, some of these people don't know how to take care of their books. We have Beowulf in a Dover Thrift edition. This is a thin enough edition, but I'm not sure if it's a translation I'm looking for. Also, to read Beowulf in the original, as you know from Ahab, is unendurable. So, and I have a better edition of it in Eastland Press. You'll see in one of these videos here in the future, but that's going too. Next here we have The Return of the Prodigal Son, a story of homecoming by Henry J. M. Nouwen. How do you say his name? This is like it's a religious book, but I think it's I'm not exactly sure what this is about. I guess this is like a study on this one Rembrandt painting and how it has biblical ties or something or other. Anyway, I had this forever. Not read it, probably never will. It is inscribed to someone, so there's that. But someone else will. So. I hauled this actually in one of these videos, in my March haul, but in all honesty, I don't see myself keeping this because I have most of this author's letters, and really that's all I need when considering if I want to know anything about this author. I just refer to his letters, and that is William James. I hauled this in my March book haul. And this is just a book about him and such and his methods, but I really don't see a need to have this because I have his letters, so there it goes. Okay, next we have here a copy of Civilization and Its Discontents by Sigmund Freud. I bought this on a whim at the Goodwill in Arizona because I was looking for it for ages, but did not look inside. When I actually did look inside, you'll see, look at that! It's awful. That is, it's all over the bloody text. See that? Who does this? Who? It's leaving me. Okay, which pile should I look at next? I guess this pile, sure, why not? We have here the Norton Anthology of Short Fiction, collected by R.V. Cassill and Richard Bahagawagita. How do you say his name? This is just a whole bunch of short stories by very famous people. This is the book, really, we should have read in that one college course, because there's a lot of famous people in here. There's who's in here? Let's see, there's Sherwood Anderson, James Baldwin, Ambrose Bierce, Raymond Carver, Joseph Conrad, Chekhov, Julio Cortázar, Shirley Jackson, F. Scott Fitzgerald, D.H. Lawrence, some modern ones too, like Amy Tan and Frank O'Connor, Flannery O'Connor. Just a whole bunch of interesting short stories. Doris Lessing. Just, this is the collection we should have read in that one short story writing class, but it's far too big for me to keep. I'll probably get this someday, a few years from now, just to have it, but right now I don't see a point in having this in my library because it's just so bloody big. So, okay, how many minutes are we at recording this thing? Oh god, I can't even see here. 19 minutes. Okay, well, I gotta wrap this up here pretty soon. We have another copy of the New Living Translation of the Bible. Don't like this translation, so it's going. We have here, a very interesting copy of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. This is kind of like that's pretty worn there. So I've got to be careful in how I handle this. Oh, it is illustrated, which is interesting. But I do have the Complete Holmes. I actually have a couple copies of the Complete Holmes, so this is obviously leaving me. Oh God. Next here we have, if I can organize this properly, we have 3 books in the Rabbit series by John Updike. This is a penguin, but we have Rabbit Run, Rabbit Redux, and Rabbit is Rich. Now, the only one I need out of there is Rabbit at Rest. I've not been able to find Rabbit at Rest. But I did find at my local bookshop a 1-volume edition of all of the Rabbit series in hardback. And I'm thinking of getting that to replace these. And besides, I think it was this one. No, it wasn't this one. It was this one. This one, for some reason, is marked. So, even though this one here is a penguin, I really don't need it because I am going to get that 1-volume edition. And these will go to the bookshop. Next we have the collected short stories of William Faulkner. This is a big honking thing. And pretty much all the stories that I want out of this are in another collection I have. So I don't really need that. Even though it is pretty much everything he's written. But still, I don't need it. We have another copy of The Cane Mutiny by Herman Wouk in that same Turtle-bound library edition. Oh, very interesting. This one here is bound upside down. You can see that there. That actually might be worth something. Maybe. So I'm going to set that one aside somewhere. Alright, next pile here. We have, if I can get this, we have a book of Leonardo da Vinci. I guess this is just like most of his paintings and such. Yeah, you can see there photographs of paintings and everything. Mona Lisa, obviously. Portrait of Lady with an ermine. A whole bunch of other stuff. Some of his notebooks. It's an enormous volume that does not have any space in my library, so that's gone. Alright, next here we have a copy of the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. This is a hardback edition. You'd think I'd want, and it's nicely illustrated by the author. You'd think I'd want this, but in the L section, it doesn't fit, because this here, as I said, from the Lovecraft, as I said, of the Lovecraft edition, only books that are about, 9 inches high can fit in the L section. And this book here is like 10.5 inches. So there's no way that that's fitting. So that goes. Alrighty here. I guess we could take this one down. The Age of the Automobile by George Bishop. This is just like a coffee table book on automobiles, which is far too big to have in my library, so bookshop it goes. We have here the Bible story book, or Eggermeyer's Bible story book, standard edition, revised standard. No space whatever to keep this, and I got this on a whim at a bookshop, or not at a bookshop, at a garage sale, and the writing in this is very simple because it is for children, and there are illustrations in here. And I'm not too sure really about most of these illustrations. But either way, it's too big to have in my library, and it's not that great a translation, so there we go. Okay. Next we have here In the Teeth of the Evidence and Other Stories by Dorothy Sayers. I have the complete short stories of Dorothy Sayers, so obviously I don't need this. Oh god. Next here we have Night by Ellie Weiselle. This is a book I did not like very much because it had to do with the Holocaust. Not that I am discomforted at all by that particular subject. It's just that books about this particular subject aren't often very compelling, I find. At least for me. And this is an example of that. I did not care too much for this book at all. I thought it was fairly pedestrian. And it is a short book, but it felt pretty long. So, there's that. Finally getting rid of it. Next here we have The Making of Europe by Christopher Dawson. This is like, I think, a history of Europe or something like that. I've not read this, but I've had it in my library forever. I think, is this in my library? I don't know. But either way, it's another book that I don't really need, and it will amount to store credit later on. So here. Next we have from the Modern Library 8 famous Elizabethan plays. I don't really need this because, well, I just don't. It's not annotated or anything, so far as I know or can tell. Or no, it is. Is it? Wait a minute. Hang on just a minute. I thought I saw some annotations in here, but I could be wrong. Either way, it is or it isn't, so it's going because I want a whole bunch of other books other than this in my library, so that's leaving me. Oh god. Next here we have The Circle by Dave Eggers. I have not read this, but I saw the film, and the film was pretty confusing. Didn't really care too much for it. My brother tried to read this. He couldn't really get through it, and I had it in my library. I never really made an attempt to read it. And I really don't think I will make an attempt to read this at all, so it's going. Next here we have Number the Stars by Lois Lowry, who is the author of the Giver series. This is another Holocaust type of book. This is probably going to be pretty boring. Oh, and it's annotated. Look at that. So this adds even more to my dislike of this because it's bloody annotated. Look at that. So, there that goes. Next we have another copy of Animal Farm by George Orwell, this time in the centenary edition. There he is, full on the back there, very big picture of him. This is a former library copy, but I just don't need it. I have an edition that I like of this already, and this isn't it, so it's going. Next here is we have Save the Tiger by Steve Schagen, or Schagen, however you say his name. Had this book forever, thought I was going to read it, never did, so it's leaving me. Next here we have Georges Simenon's Maigret Has Scruples. I have a penguin already of this, so I don't need this. Alright, getting towards the end here, we have The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave by Frederick Douglass. Simple reason why this is going is because, well, I think you'll see here somewhere here. Yeah. Highlighted. So, and I could get a thinner edition of that. Next here we have The Complete Idiot's Guide to Understanding Einstein. This is a big honking thing, as I said. I have no room for it in my library. I just got rid of a biography of Einstein. That was huge. And this is huge too, so that's leaving me as well. We have here cliff notes on Aldous Huxley's Brave New World and Brave New World Revisited. Ahab wanted to know what Brave New World Revisited was about. Essentially, Brave New World Revisited is an essay by Aldous Huxley, basically speaking on certain subjects brought up in Brave New World and how they figure into reality. About 20 years after the publication of Brave New World. So, there you go. So this is Cliff Notes. Don't need this, so there we go. Next we have Volume 2 of the Complete Sherlock Holmes in the Doubleday edition. Obviously, as I said, have the Complete Holmes, although there's some nice end paper design with Conan Doyle's signature. But have the Complete Holmes, so don't need this. Next here we have Growing a Business, the 17-part PBS series, or companion to the 17-part PBS series, by Paul Hawken. A very long story behind this, but I was going to try and set up my own business, but I don't think that's ever going to go through because, well, I'm not too interested in doing it anymore, and it's become quite a strain on me just even thinking about going through with this, so I really don't need this book at all. So. And I'll tell more of that business in another video. Next here we have The House at Pooh Corner by A.A. Milne, one of the Winnie the Pooh volumes. I have this in a hardback, and so don't need this little paperback here. Next here, I hauled this in my September book haul, 30 Days to Understanding the Bible, Unlock the Secret to Scripture in 15 days, or minutes a day by Max Anders. This is not the whole book. This is only a sneak preview. So, what's it called? Salvation Army ripped me off. And you there ripped me off there. So, that's going to the bookshop. Okay, next we have The Reader by Bernard Schlink, a novel. I've had this for years. It's set in post-war Germany. I'm not too big a fan of that particular period, and I'll probably never read this, so there we go. Next we have here The Pocket Mentor of Managing Difficult Interactions from Harvard Business Press. Don't need this because, well, I already know how to manage myself in difficult interactions, but this is more like for business and such. So, and I don't have a business, so there we go. And it further adds to my store credits, so yeah. Alright, just a few more books here and then we're done. We have here Speaker of the Dead by Orson Scott Card. This is the second book in the Ender series. Sorry about that, but I only want the first book in the series because I read it a very long time ago and don't remember anything about it and want to reread it again. Jeez, if I learn how to speak proper English, as I said. And from what I hear from people, the rest of the series isn't really all that great, so there's no reason for me to keep this. Next here we have The Queen of Spades and Other Stories by Alexander Pushkin. Reason why, and this is a Penguin, the reason why I'm getting into this is because, well, it's highlighted in places. And I don't want it. So, there you go. Next we have Banner in the Sky by James Ramsey Ullman, a very unusual name. This is another like young adult book or something or other, very puerile type of a thing. I don't really find myself reading this at all, even though it is a turtle-bound library edition, so there you go. Okay, 2 more books and then we're done. We have The Sea of Grass by Conrad Richter. This is a very short novel. I tried reading this one morning, but I couldn't get through it because it was just going so slowly, and it just felt very boring to me, and so I just decided to quit the book. And so I'm going to give this away to the bookshop for store credit. So there. Last book we have here is one I tried to sell on eBay, but I couldn't because I could, but someone actually bought this book. But this was during the time when my father had passed, so I wasn't paying too much attention to anything really, and so I didn't realize that he had bought this book and was waiting for it to be shipped. And so basically wrote me an angry review saying that he bought this item elsewhere, and so he doesn't have to worry about it. But anyhow, Shades of Green by Graham Greene. These are, I suppose, stories that he wrote which were dramatized for television. I have the complete short stories of Graham Greene, as I said, so I don't need this. Okay, so that's the last book Unhaul I'm going to do for a great while. As you can see, I've actually cleared off not 1, but 2 shelves in this bookcase here. I might actually need to get some more books in order to make this a bit more presentable for the tour, but anyhow, that is it. I hope you have enjoyed, and we'll see you here in the